Olaf, hello.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
It looks highly tropical where you are.
Yeah, it's kind of warm and nice. I'm just stuck in here. Luckily, I've got a terrace, so I can enjoy the sun as well. But there's not a lot I can do right
Olaf,
now.
hello.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Nice to see you.
See you.
It looks highly tropical where
Oh,
you are.
come on. Yeah, sorry. It
That's the
was,
feed.
yeah, that was a little bit of a feed. So yeah, I'm stuck here in Barcelona. There's not a lot we can do. We can just go out for our grocery and to go to a pharmacy, get medication, but that's it. We're living under an emergency at the moment.
Wow, it's a pretty difficult time. Definitely a difficult time. So thanks for agreeing to come on at this occasion and have a chat during this ever so slightly odd and different time in all of our lives.
Thank you for inviting me.
To kick off, I thought we could have a little insight into your first paid job as a photographer. So, to give us a bit of a kind of example and a bit of information, how did it all start for you?
Okay, so a little bit of background. I was a skateboarder and a BMX rider at the time, and I was getting older, so I was struggling to keep pushing my bike. I mean, doing tricks and stuff, and that's when I started to take photos, so I could still join the road trips. And I wasn't paid at the moment at the time. They maybe the brands were giving me free clothes, or maybe they were paying me the expenses for traveling. And at the time I was studying, so it was good enough for me because I love to travel and I got paid for travel, so well, great. And yeah, maybe I got a little bit of money, pocket money for these jobs. But the first proper paid job was actually by Red Bull, and they purchased some picture of mine that I took to a BMX rider, friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
Alessandro Barbero. He just got sponsored by Red Bull. They needed some images, and they contacted me, and it's how it started. It was long time ago. I think it was, yeah, 2004.
Amazing.
That's how it started.
So, do you still skateboard?
No, no, I do not skateboard. I do not ride a BMX anymore. I still can ollie and kickflip, but that's it. Now I'm more into road cycling. I think it's more for me.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stamina, so I really like to climb hills, and that's it.
And it's quite an Italian tradition to do road cycling as well. So, it probably fits a
Yeah,
bit better with your heritage.
yeah. By the way, but when I was a kid, I hated it because it was Italian heritage. I hate it. I'm a skateboarder and I'm cool. And
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Now it
that
changed.
that makes perfect sense as to why the first job was with Red Bull. Really,
Yeah, exactly.
perfect marriage of skills and passions. So we thought we'd touch on a couple of the images that you've spent some time shooting over the last few years.
Okay.
Things have certainly come on a long way for you from photographing a skateboarder. And no better an image to really start with discussing than your first a shot that you share with me from Ferrari. So I'm going to put
Oh,
this up on the screen for those viewers who are joining us to see. And I'd love to hear a little bit of the story behind this because this is a pretty exquisite shot of clearly a very expensive car that not many people get the opportunity to shoot. So what's the story behind this shot?
okay, so I was actually on as a person on the passenger seat of a Lamborghini, by the way, shooting this car. So even
Even
worse.
nicer.
Yeah. So we were in a truck in Nevada, and I was part of a production with video, and we had to shoot all the cars of a truck, and mostly video. And then problem is photos and video. Photos always come last. And I had a little bit of time to shoot the photos because they were struggling to get the right angle, the right shot, and so they were just taking the time out of my own shoot. And I think that part took like a couple of maybe four laps to get the shot of a Ferrari. So it was really hard to understand where I could position the Lamborghini while driving and communication via radio, talk to the driver of a Ferrari how to drive, and I really wanted to the piano, the red and white
Yeah,
piano,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I got a lot of shots. I was shooting sequences like 12 to 12 photos per second. I got a lot. I got a lot of blurry or out of frame or out of focus picture. But then I managed to get that one. It's not the only one that I
Of
got in
course.
those labs,
I should hope
but
not.
hmm?
I should hope it's not the
No,
only shot.
no, absolutely not. But it was tough because I didn't have any time at all, and I still had to come back with a result.
So I'm going to put it up on the screen for the viewers again once more. Just one sort of bust the myth. A lot of car photography is shot. Actually, it evokes an image of speed, but actually the car is only going very, very slowly. So in this shot here, were you driving, or were both cars driving at high speed, or were you cruising along kind of slowly?
No, kind of fast because I really needed the punning. And if you go slow, yes, you can how to say keep the time a little bit longer. But then everything is shaky. That track it was so shaky that I needed to. I would get a hole if I was shooting like 130 or something like that. So we were going quite fast, which was slow for that kind of cars, but let's say, I don't know, 100 kilometers per hour, which is good enough in a truck.
That's
I
cool.
was,
Well,
I was leaning out of a door of the window of a Lamborghini, so every turn I was like going out, and the driver was taking me from the belt and keeping me there. So yeah,
it sounds vaguely dangerous, but it's definitely a winning shot. So well done. High fives on that Ferrari shot there. The next shot I wanted to bring up is a shot that you did for Design Quest for something to do with Red Bull. Now, I personally remember when I started at Red Bull many years ago, it was a very strong favourite of mine when I was image editing, and I'm just really a big fan of this image, and I'd love to hear a little bit more of the story behind it because honestly, I don't actually know, and I'm sure all the viewers out there would be pretty keen too. So, for the benefit of the people watching, here's the image of three cool BMX riders on a particularly bright turquoise background. So, tell us a little bit about this shot, Olaf.
so I love this shot because it's part of my background. So it's way after when I was just going on road trip with my friends and shooting BMX photos. It was arranged by Red Bull. It was an idea of mine, and to go around Europe. Here was in Spain, in Benidorm, and find some peculiar architecture, and the BMX rider could ride on them. It was Simone Barraco, Anthony Perrin, and Adam Courage.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the promenade of Benidorm. It's a seaside town in Spain, and I really wanted this pattern at the time. Yeah, drones were already out, but it's not a drone shot. We had to. Sorry, we had to ask for neighbors if we could go to the terraces and shoot from their house to the promenade and get this shot. So we had no radio, nothing. I was just screaming, "Go back and forth, do something!" And Anthony came up with bounce beam, and that's it.
That's pretty impressive, definitely considering the time before drones, and clearly no helicopter was involved, because that cost would be far too prohibitive. I mean, obviously, here's a myth busting question. For me, the shadow of the BMXer in the air is dead center, and it's really killer. Now, is this shot as you shot it, or did
It
you
is.
do
It is.
anything?
It is.
So no cropping to make it that much more perfect.
No, I don't think so. Also, because I don't think I had enough space. Because I don't. I should go and see the row, but I'm quite sure that that's it. There was no space because the two riders are quite at the end of the frame, which I don't like that much. I would have loved to have a little bit more space on the right on the bottom. And so if it's like that, it's just because I didn't have any space and that's the picture how it is.
I see.
I don't think I have to check on the raw if I just did something, but I think it came up like that.
Well,
Something you like.
I think it's a particularly strong shot, and I think everybody else out there hopefully will agree with me too. Beautiful piece of work. Now, the next shot I want to discuss is a particularly impressive one, actually. You quote this as being the most important image ever taken professionally. It's from a project called Barnstorming that you shot for Red Bull, which has a particularly strong place in my heart for the very big reason that I've got a massive shot of it up here on my wall.
Wow.
That's a particularly huge print, which is for a shot from a GoPro. So you are forever in my mind because that shot up there is always on our wall.
Yeah.
But that's not the shot we're going to discuss. It's the project. It's not the shot. And I'm going to put the shot on screen now, which is, if anyone has vertigo, that is going to be a scary shot. So I personally have got no idea how you did this. I would assume you were probably in a plane, but I'd love for you to explain to us quite how you got this terrifying looking image.
Actually, it was quite simpler. It was a GoPro shot. So I attached, he didn't know. I attached the GoPro to the other plane and we were flying around and just have to choose the right frame.
But okay, I mean, you make that sound very simple. It's just a GoPro, but sticking the GoPro on the shot and ensuring that you get the right frame. How do you do that? Were you in the corresponding plane that was holding the GoPro and you were live viewing, or were you shooting from the ground, or did you just have it on burst, 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 and you had to go through 13,000 pictures when the planes landed?
The latter. Yeah, it was just on burst. This time I couldn't get on the plane because it was just one person flying, just the pilot, and I couldn't be on there. So I triggered I was bursting every, I don't know, half a second for the whole flight. But the fact is, I was lucky enough, let's say, to be there and take that picture, which was part of a way bigger project. And the reason why it's so important for me professionally is the first big project that I had when I moved to Red Bull, actually when I moved to London. So I moved from Milan to London without not really having any contact in the new city. And I knocked the door at Red Bull UK because I got a few emails of them. So I said, look, I just moved here. I'd love to work with you. I'm already working with Red Bull Italy and of course with Red Bull Austria. And yeah, we're like, yeah, of course. First project, we're going to call you. And we never did. And I was a little bit scared because I was still traveling back to Italy to work with my former clients. But I really wanted to make a base and living a little bit more of the photography in London. And then they called me for this project and they said, like, we need a special photographer. We asked some advice to Red Bull Austria, which is the headquarter, and they came up with three names. And one of these was, Olaf Pignataro, yeah, the Italian guy. Let's call him. And I think you were the one who put the three names. So thank you. And from this shoot, from this production, it started a long collaboration with Red Bull UK. So, and it was a very difficult one because actually in the picture, if you can, I don't know if the picture is on screen, you can see on the ground there's a big green rectangular. It's a barn door.
Yes.
Two planes were flying into the barn door at full speed, and they said they're probably going to fly just once, and you have to shoot it from every single angle. And there's no way you're going, as a photographer, you're going to be anywhere close to the barn door because it's too dangerous. It's like, come on, it's dangerous for the pilots. If anything happens to them, it's fair enough if it happens to me as well. But yeah, they didn't like my idea, so I had to trigger all the cameras where I was putting all around the barn door, and one of those were the GoPro on the other airplane. So I just was pushing the bottom when I was taking pictures, not even watching into the frame of all the cameras, but I had to do a lot of preparation before. So that bursting the GoPro, yeah, it's kind of simple. You just have to attach the camera, but you have to be there and think about how to do it. The GoPro was the easiest part.
Yeah, I can well imagine. Well, if anybody hasn't seen the project, it's well worth looking up. It's definitely terrifying, quite frankly, having two of these small planes fly through an old aircraft hangar in the middle of the English countryside. Ridiculous, and I can only but imagine trying to get good quality images in a place like that was definitely a challenge. So high praise to you, really, for pulling off something like the image that's on there, the one that's on my wall, and all the rest from the rest of the project. So well done. I'm going to give you an applause there. So moving on. It was actually following the success of this shoot that I recollect that I decided to commission you for a separate project. Would you care to tell us about the memories of that shoot? It was Falkirk Wheel. It
Yeah.
was pretty different and interesting, and I've got a great shot of it here to put up on screen. But just a couple of minutes on that from you.
Okay. Yeah, it was actually something we were talking about shoots that were very lucky, and this special project for me was very, very unlucky. I came up with the idea, I found the location, and I figured out that it would be this wheel, this canal would be a great background for some wakeboarding shots. And when we got there, we got all the preparation. We started to shoot, and nothing was working properly. Nothing about production. Production was just fine. But every angle I had in my mind, I was like, "Ah, it's not working. Let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next one." And then it even started to rain, but Norman is Scotland, and it was pouring down. We couldn't shoot at all. And then, well, I was lucky enough that just before the end of the shoot, just before sunset, the sky opened up, and we got a beautiful sunset, and we came up with these images, which I do like, but I think they're just action pictures in front of a nice sunset. And I had so much more in mind that didn't happen. And yeah, this teaches me that I don't know. I don't know if I had to be more prepared, or sometimes just things go out of luck completely.
True, true. Well, you never know. I mean, you went there with best laid plans, and quite frankly, the pictures that came out of it were still strong. I'm going to put it up on screen now for everybody to see. The Falkirk Wheel is an extraordinary piece of architecture in Scotland where it takes one canal at a great height and drops it down to another canal at another height with a kind of pendulum contraption that takes the canal boat with it. This is the resulting shot. It was wakeboarding along the Falkirk Canal, Falkirk Wheel Canal, and regardless of what Olaf has just said now, I think you'll all agree here that this picture is particularly cool. So it may just be a shot at sunset in his words, but to my mind, that's still a very strong memory of having a good, successful production with Olaf
Right.
a number of years ago. So, cool. Very nice. Thanks for taking us on that little trip down memory lane. I'm going to trip on now to something a bit more current. Obviously, strange times for us all here. COVID has definitely marked a moment in time that we're all questioning as to what on earth the future is going to happen. I'd just like to ask you, where were you? Well, actually, no, you've already answered this question. Where were you when things started becoming more serious? What was the last job that you were working on before COVID kind of locked you down in the place that you are now?
Yeah, well, actually, when things started to get serious, I was traveling. I was in Sofia, then I had a job in London, then I came in Barcelona for another job, then I went to Milan, and then back to London, then back to Barcelona. I was waiting just a few days to go to Mallorca, and had a three-athlete shoot, and they just canceled it. Like, we don't feel it's safe to travel there because things that were happening. I was like, come on, I've been taking 5, 6, 7 airplanes in the last week. It's fine. I couldn't understand. I knew the rumors coming from Italy, but it was like, just it's safe, let's do it. And we were like, no, 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 let's not. We want to do it in Como, so all the team's not going to travel. It's going to be just you. Is it fine for you? I was like, yeah, sure. And then they just canceled because Italy got in a lockdown after a few days. And yeah, I was in Barcelona at the moment, but I was lucky enough not to be traveling in that right moment. So yeah, I got this shot that is postponed for now.
Right.
And yeah, I got a few that were going to happen in this month. One, they already told me, yeah, don't worry, you won the pitch. It's not going to happen now. It's going to happen in March 2021. And our stuff is planned for possibly in September. But at the time, it's like I got a few projects I have to shoot, but nothing going to be. We'll see. We'll see with the budget. We'll see what's going to happen in Europe. And for me, it's going to be very hard to travel because I'm here in Barcelona. I do shoots in Barcelona, but mostly for international clients. And for now, they're not going to travel here to do any shoots. And for me, it's going to be very hard to travel anywhere in Europe, in the world, without being, I don't know, two weeks in our self-quarantine or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it definitely is quite difficult for everybody really at the minute, and I can appreciate being stuck in your little place there in Barcelona. Whilst you got the weather, you don't really know what the future holds, much like everybody. But obviously, on a positive side, this does give us, to try to swing a positive into it. It does give us an opportunity to focus on some personal projects. Now, we touched on that at the beginning. Would you like to enlighten us a little bit on what this personal project is that you've been up to?
Yeah, it's something that doesn't have anything to do with photography, actually.
Excellent. Is it harnessing your creativity in other ways?
Yeah, I'm writing a novel.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's like, it's an historical novel, and it's the coming of age of Raphael in Rome in the Renaissance time, in his competition with Michelangelo, and his love story with his lover Fornarina. Background of the Italian wars with the terrible Pope Giulio II. That's
amazing.
It didn't start now. So I got this idea a couple of years ago, and I was doing a lot of researches and tried to figure out how to. And then, you got a lot of ideas, and then they're never going to happen. And got stuck in that. So I was keep researching, keep finding sub-stories and other stuff that could fit in. And I actually started to properly write at the beginning of the year. And then lockdown came, so I already wrote, 1/3 of a book.
Great.
It's the hardest and most boring part, because I was loving to do researches. It's a lot of writing, but then you got like, oh, this is connected to this, and this, I can use this character and change that and everything. And now it's just writing and writing, so trying to find a style. And it's going to take a while because I wrote a lot, but I have to re-edit more and more time. And I really hope that what I'm writing is good. I know that the idea is strong, but the way I'm writing has to be good enough for readers to get stuck in it.
Of course.
Don't know. Finger crossed.
Are you giving yourself a definite deadline as to when you want to try and finish this by? And have you got any ideas about any book publishers that might want to take it on?
I think I'm going to think about how much I'm working. I think by the end of the year, I'm going to finish the book with all the edits. But I don't think I'm going to be ready for Christmas time, which is one of the most perfect time to sell a book. And no, of course, I'm writing it in Italian, so I'm going to knock at the door of all the Italian publishers. And worst case scenario, I'm going to self-publish it, and you guys have to write it, to read it, and I'm going to, so how do you think about when Michelangelo said this to it? And we're like, yeah, I didn't really read it, but whatever. So I don't know. For now, it's a personal project. Might be something that I just hand to my friends, or maybe I'm right. Maybe there's something more. I don't know. And for
That's
now, I'm just having fun doing this, even if it's kind of boring writing. But it's fun. It's a nice idea. I think you can really see how excited I am about
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You can see your passion.
But
Well, it's clearly a part of your history that's coming out there. Maybe something touched you when you were younger that sort of reignited that passion. I mean, there's lots of stories about people doing things now in this strange time that they really wouldn't have anticipated doing at all. So good for you, really, honestly, good for you for getting out there and committing to trying to write a book. That's no
I
mean
don't think
feat.
I don't think it's going to be my career, but photography career for now is stuck, and I don't see any use to I don't know struggle to find new project because all my clients like we don't know if we're going to survive, if we have any budget in the future, so let's hold.
I
I put
yeah.
this on a hold and work on something else.
I couldn't agree more. Look, I published a book only recently myself. Not quite as in depth as you. It's more of a photo. Well, it is a photo book, so nothing along the same level. But you've got to do all these things where you can right now, and try to maximise the time that you've got. So speaking of which, time here. How who knows how long this is all going to end, or how long this will go on for? Will it ever end? How much it will affect our existence? But for now, when you are allowed to go outside again, which I believe is actually quite soon, I read in the news, what is the first thing that you're going to do well, when you're allowed to go outside?
I don't know because it depends what I'm going to be allowed to do. So if I can do anything, I'm going for a swim for sure. I can see the sea from here, but I can't go to the beach and I can't get into the water. And so if they're allowed, for sure, I'm going first thing I'm going to go for a swim. I think it's more probable that I won't be allowed to, and so I'm just going to climb the hills around here with my road bike.
Yeah, I thought that
So
would be
that's
the
it.
get.
I'd love to go for a beer with friends, but I know that's going to take some time for that.
Yes, it probably will.
So not going,
Definitely.
we're not going to open up. It's just a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the first things we're going to be allowed to is going to do sports outside, and so yeah, stick with it.
Well, I think that's definitely a good thing to do. Get that bike of yours off the cycle train and get it outside and do what you fully intended to do now that
Yeah.
you're hopefully able to. But as we say, we don't know how long this is going to go on for, so let's see. Um, as far as the has gone, and using your camera, have you actually shot anything since you've been concealed away in this secret apartment of yours?
Yeah, I got a 400 millimeters lens and I'm shooting candid photos of my neighbors on their terraces doing sports. So
Nice.
I'm not sneaking into their bedrooms. I'm just shooting people outside of the
But
houses,
you're not
and
telling us about that.
there's a lot of people doing exercises, workout, skipping rope, and stuff like that. I think I got a couple of boxers here, so I got them pushing. I don't know exactly what if I'm ever going to use this picture, but it's once in a lifetime opportunity to get this, so I'm shooting that. I'm just reporting what's going around here. That's what I can do.
That's a very cool series, though. Actually, I mean, there was a little piece of content that went viral recently about two Italian ladies playing tennis over rooftops. So obviously similar vein, shooting
Yeah.
that. You should think about trying to put it all together in a mini book. Maybe that could be your first publisher to publish to get you out there. And
Uh,
if at the very least not a book, then in a website that you can share, and we can
yeah.
add it to this. We can add it to this YouTube video and see
Ah,
what people are getting up to in Barcelona in these odd times.
yeah.
So, apart from photographing people on their balconies, have you learnt any new tricks?
During the quarantine, not photographic tips, but I learned something that freelance lifestyle is amazing. Till a pandemic, a world pandemic happens when it sucks so much.
Yes, yes,
That,
I can definitely relate to that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not working. I'm kind of used of sitting at home, not working for a long time because it's a part of a freestyler job, or freelancer job. You don't you lose a lot of pitches. You don't get call from clients. It happens. You don't have to be desperate or anything. Things going to change. You're going to get a job at some point. So it's not that hard for me to sit at home and not doing nothing but finding something else to do.
Mm.
And this time the problem is I'm I don't know if and when the business is going to start again and how, especially how. So I'm figuring out if I have to change anything. I'm lucky enough I'm not working in events because that's like whoa. But again, big productions not going to happen anymore, so I can't shoot with 20 people behind me helping organizing. And might be more flexible, I don't know, or maybe just when the pandemic stops, it just starts all over again. I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think everybody is in the same situation,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
So maybe let's chuck a positive note in there again. You know, you're a photographer with clearly many skills who attaches GoPros to airplanes and photographs sporting people outside of on their terraces in Barcelona. Have you got any little camera photography tips you fancy sharing with the audience or with me? If anybody's watching, then hello. If not, the tip is just going to be for me.
It's not my tip. It's something I read. I think it was Magnum tip. It's wear good shoes, wear comfortable and waterproof shoes when you're on location. It helps if you're a photo reporter, but even if you're commercial or sports in location, that's basic. You don't want to go in the pitch in the early morning, beautiful day, the forecasts are splendid, and you put your sneakers in the grass, and the grass is still wet from the night, and you're going to stay with the wet feet for the whole day. That's something I learned at the very beginning, and now it's always Gore-Tex shoes.
Yeah, I definitely go with that. I learned pretty hard by wearing a particular brand of sports shoes that had not very much cushioning in them. And after being on the run, shooting events, shooting sports all day, my feet were destroyed. So a good pair of comfortable trainers. I like that tip. That's yeah, a very very strong, solid tip from a seasoned
Sorry.
professional, shall we say? Um, so as a kind of a little parting gesture, I thought it might be quite nice for anybody out there who's going to watch this to come up with the single most important piece of information that you can give to photographers and fellow creatives at this time. Now, there's plenty of photographers out there who are just graduating, whose final year shows have been cancelled. Um, but it could be about, or also directed at people who've been shooting for years. Do you have any little tips that you think you've learned in your weeks of lockdown that you feel like sharing?
Oh, actually, no, I didn't learn it now while doing something else. Yeah, now I learned that you have to not to be focused just on one thing, not for a career, but you need more stuff. If you just focus on photography and your passion and life in photography, at this moment you're dead, especially if you're not shooting still life. But no, the best another good advice I have for photographers are be nice, don't be a prima donna. You're working with other people and they all working together and they all want to have the results. And it's not the time, not now is as in the quarantine, in the pandemic, in this year is not the time to be a prima donna and be an asshole because there's so many good photographers around there and nobody is going to miss you and your bad behavior when they choose somebody else. That's it. So first thing, build good connection with not good connection like PR or anything, but just be on location, be on the shoot, and be the one who the other people love to work with. That's it.
And wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
That's a very very good solid piece of advice. Thanks for saying that. And for those of you listening, I think you'll agree that's always something that's very worthwhile bearing in mind, really across the board, but especially when you're dealing with a lot of people on shoot sets who are looking to you to create the content that they're after. So
Yeah.
I think that pretty much brings our little conversation to a close. If you're out there and you're watching, give us a high five. Click the high five button on YouTube. And if you've got any questions, type them into the comment part now. We can just pose them to Olaf. And in the meantime, there's just really one final parting question that I would like to pose to Olaf, which is something that's on my mind consistently, and I think probably on all of ours as well, is name one thing that you think will change forever as a result of the situation that we're in now.
I have no idea. I'm reading so much, and everything is going to change and nothing. So I don't know. It might be the end of the oil era. It might be the end of commuting. Might be the end of globalization as we know it. Nobody knows. So all the theories are very interesting. It might affect me in some way. Not so, like end of traveling going to affect me so much because I was catching flight as other people catch a bus, and now it's like I can't see myself flying other part of the world just to do a shoot. I can't see myself even flying to another country at the moment, and flight might be more expensive. So it might, even if I'm allowed to, I might don't want to go anymore because it makes no sense anymore.
Mm.
So that's one thing that's going to affect me also because I love to travel. And other things, I don't know, really. It's hopefully everything's going to change. I was doing just fine before the pandemic, but I'd love to see a change. Just for I don't know. It's going to affect so many people, and that's a shame. Might be affect us me as well, probably. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be alive, I guess.
Yes.
So yeah. So out of curiosity, I want to see what's going to change, and hopefully something is going to change because yeah, we weren't living in a perfect world. So why? Hopefully it's going to change for better.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to change for worse for a lot of people. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Really.
we
So,
definitely don't know. That's very very true. We don't know, but the one thing I do know is that I hope that at some point our paths will cross in a
yeah,
different way to this, so that we can share a beer and talk more stories like we have done now. But for
absolutely.
now, I'd like to say a big thank you to Olaf for being part of this, for beaming in from Barcelona. The video will, all being well, be available on my YouTube channel for Olaf to share, for you to share if you're watching, and you know, come back for the next one, which I will hopefully be doing with Corey Rich in a few days' time. But for now, a big high five. Thank you very much to Olaf. And I'm going to leave with, well, which picture should we finish with? Should we finish with the Ferrari Design Quest or Barnstorming? Maybe Barnstorming.
Fine quest. It's a nice
Design
background.
Quest. All right.
Love
So
it.
thanks very much, Olaf. It's been really cool
Thank,
speaking to you. Thanks for your time, and we'll be connecting again very soon.
thank you. Thank you again. Bye. Bye bye.